Hi, I'm George Pearson, and in this video we'll be looking at the 4 new Photoshop Elements 2019 guided edits, and also how you can go beyond the guided edit and make these even better using the Photoshop Elements editor. Now if you like this video, make sure you click that like button, and always share with your friends through social media. Just go down there and click on that share button. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Just click on that subscribe button. And if you want to really learn how to use Photoshop Elements, the best way to do that is with my complete training course, and you'll find a link right down there in the description. Okay, let's get to it. In Photoshop Elements 2019, they've added 4 new guided edits. 3 of those are in the fun edits. Here's your first one right here. It's this meme maker. There it is. I'll scroll down just a little bit. Second one is right here, the multi-photo text. There you go. We'll scroll down a little bit further. The third one is right here, the partial sketch, giving it kind of a partial sketch effect. The last of these new guided edits is over on the special edits section. Scroll down here a little bit, and it's right here, the text and border overlay. It puts just a little kind of a thin border and some text over one of your pictures. Now all of these will give you a nice quality effect when you finish. We'll start off here with the meme maker. Now on all of these, you need to have pictures opened up ahead of time. So I have a bunch of pictures down here below, as you can see across the bottom. Some butterflies, some mushrooms, lady in a forest, and a couple of people with fairy wings on. Just a few things down below here. So you need to have some pictures open. When you're ready to work on one of these, simply choose one picture. I have one chosen right down here. As you can see, that white outline. And I'm in the photo bin. There's a little photo bin button right there. So we're in the photo bin. I have one selected, and then simply click on the guided edit tool you want to use. And this is the meme maker. It then takes that picture over into that guided edit. You can zoom in and out right here. You can close it down if you want to right there. You can choose to look at the before only, after only, or before and after vertical or horizontal layout. We'll just look at the after only. That's all we need to be worrying about here. And then simply work through the guide over here on the right hand side. Just work it from the top down to the bottom. Our first step here is to create the meme template. So go ahead and click on that. This then applies the template and gives you a basic settings with the template. Next down here we have the type tool, and you can modify your top and your bottom text. But first, let's change what the text says. See how it says double click here to add text? Just double click. It gives you an insertion tool with the text selected. So let's go ahead and put something in here. So type something in, click on that green check mark. Do the same for the bottom. Notice how the bottom already is pre-selected here. Make sure I get all my letters. There we go. Little quote there from Peter Pan. So just go ahead and type in your text. Once you've done that, you then can go to the type tool, which is our next option. Option number 2. Click on this. We can now change the text. Notice we're looking at the top text right now. You can change your font, your size, your leading, your tracking, the center, bold, and so forth. We even have the type warping tool available right down here for doing some real fancy type. Let's just change our typeface to something a little bit wider. I'll go up to Arial Black, which I have up here someplace. It's a extra bold version of Arial. There it is. Just a little wider than what they selected. Click on the green check mark. Bottom becomes selected. Let's go ahead and change this one as well. And again, I'll go back up to that Arial Black. Kind of like an Arial extra bold, and it's just a wider typeface, a little bit wider on the page. So we now change the typeface in here. Again, you can use any typeface on your system. If you still want to change it some more, just double click, and you can then come in and change it again, and then click on the green check mark. So you can go back and forth on that until it's just the way you want. Next over here on our tool, we have the resize tool. Simply move this slider back and forth to zoom in or zoom out on your picture. I'll leave it where it is. We can just see what happens. So you can zoom out like that. You can zoom in. I'll put it back to that 100% right in the center. And you can flip it left or right or up or down. You can fit photo to the canvas. What that does is it takes a photo clear out to the outer edge right there, so you wouldn't see any background. Now you're not stuck with this background. Down here we have a choice of two different ways of putting your background. The first one is patterns, and the second one is a color. Just choose from the color picker. Look at our patterns first. Click on that. You have a selection of some basic patterns in here. They all work pretty well. I'll just choose this one, a bit more colorful than that one over there. Choose OK. If you want just a solid color, just click over on this icon, and then you can choose a color in here. Choose your main color range over here, and then the values of that color over here on the left-hand side to apply a solid background color. Okay, next we'll scroll down just a little bit further, and we have effects, which are applied to the photograph in here. Click on Effects, and you have just some fast effects. This undoes the effects right there. But we have our first one here, which is kind of an edge definition drawing, puts contrast on the edges, or we have a black and white old-fashioned look, or we have this thing, which may work out sometimes, doesn't on this picture obviously, and we have this effect, kind of a zoom effect. Hard to see it in this picture. The thumbnail isn't what this is. This is more kind of a zoom effect, not a sepia tone old-fashioned look. So their thumbnail's wrong there. I don't know why. And finally we have the actual sepia tone look over here. We'll use this effect right there, the one that has the wrong picture on it. So there you go. Once you're done, come over down here, down to the bottom right hand corner, click on Next. You can then choose what you want to do with this guided edit. You can save it or do a Save As, which allows you to change a different file format if you want to, change the name, whatever. Or you can continue editing either in quick mode or in expert mode, or you can share to Flickr or Twitter. We'll go ahead and go to expert mode with this. There it is, and here's that file in expert mode. You can see we now have all of these layers over here. Here's our two text layers. Here's a special frame set up in here. This controls what is happening inside the image here. Is actually a layer group. So you have layer groups here. These came in back in version 15. So you have a nice little layer groups right there. And then right down here is the background. We'll come back to this and see how you can make changes on this just a little bit further. Now before we go back and take a look at our next guided edit, let's go ahead and save this one. Now it was originally a JPEG file right here, a little JPG, you can see that right there. It now has layers, and since the JPEG doesn't support layers, it's going to want to automatically save this in the Photoshop Elements file format. That's fine, so File, Save. Notice how it has kept the file name but changed the extension to the Photoshop extension, the PSD extension, and choose Save. And there we go, that one's now saved. Okay, let's go back here to our guided edit. And you'll see down here, there's that saved file, but I've lost the other file. It's been converted over to this. So let me reopen that one again. Go up to the File menu, come down to Recent, and it'll be the top one right here, or second to top anyways. There's our image again. We'll bring that back up again in here. And we scroll down. There she is right down there. Okay, so we have our pictures again. I'll go back to that one as our main picture. Scroll down a little bit for our second. This is the multi-photo text right here. Let's click on this one. Now for this you only need to have just one picture selected. You'll add in your additional pictures in here after you get this basically set up. Just a few steps here. The type tool, optional tool in here for adjusting the type. This creates the frames out of your text, and you can also choose a new background as well if you want to not use this as your background, and there's an optional step down here for your text. Let's go ahead and see how all this stuff works. We'll start off with our type tool. You see there's the type tool right there, just kind of on the page. They always default to impact regular. That's fine for right now. Let's click in here, and let's just type in fairies. Choose OK, and that sets it in place. Now once this is in place, you can actually grab these control handles here, and you can change the size and the shape just by pulling these out. So you can come in here and really adjust the size. Now for this to work, the bigger your letters are, the better it's going to work. There's more space. You need as much space inside of these as you can for this to work out well. And I'll do what they've done over there. I'll basically match their layout, and I'll put this right down just about there. That's pretty good. Okay, so there's the basic type. That's our text. That's where it's going to be sitting on our picture. That's step 1. Let's now come down to step 2. Now this is optional. You can automatically fit to your page, or you can fill the whole page up with your text. We've already adjusted our size where we want it, so we don't need to use this one. Again, it's an optional step. I'll just go ahead and skip that. The next step converts this into picture frames. So click on Create Frames. And there's the conversion process. Now each one of these is a separate image frame, and if we click into it right where the text is, don't click out here anywhere, click on the text itself. If you click in there, you can then put or choose a new picture to go inside of those text frames. Now it might help if you want to zoom in a bit at this point. Just grab our zoom control right there. You can zoom up, and once you're here, if you hold the space bar down, give this hand tool or choose the hand tool up there. Also do this way, space bar, and you can then pull your image around. So right where it says click here to add photo, it means click on this line of text to add a new photo. So let's go ahead and do that and begin putting our pictures in. So do our first one right here. Again, click right on that text. You may need to navigate to the right folder on your hard drive. I'm already where I want to be, that's fine. So I'll just choose this butterfly picture as my first picture. Choose place, and that picture comes in. Now once it's here, you can move the picture around inside of this window, that side of that frame. You go up, down, move it in and out. You also can zoom in on your picture or zoom out on your picture right there. If you zoom out too far, it's going to be cut off, obviously, on your letters, so don't go out too far. I'll just zoom in a little bit here. I think that looks like a pretty good spot right about there. Choose OK. Same thing for your next photo. Just again, click where it says click here. On this one, I'm going to come down a little bit. Let's just grab, oh, maybe this kind of mushroomy thing right here. That's fine. Click on place. There it is. And that looks like I'll leave that as is. Our next one, real thin text here. It's a thin letter. Let's click on that. And let's find our next image in here. Scroll down. I think I'll grab this girl right there. Choose place. And let's move her around just a little bit so we can see her. There we go. Next letter, same thing. You just work your way across. Click right here. Let's go back to our butterflies. I'll choose that one and place. There's a butterfly. Let's just make it a bit larger in here so it fills our letter up. That looks fine. Now on these, you can also change your image just by clicking on this little icon right there. You can go back and choose a different image. Go ahead and choose OK. Back to our letters. There we go. And let's go for this mushroom this time. Choose place. A little different mushroom. Let's move to the side just a little bit. I think that's okay. And now I'll hold the space bar down again. Gets my grabber hand, and I can then push this to the side. Click here to add photo. We'll scroll down a little bit. Let's put our secondary girl here with wings and place. I think she should be up here someplace. Well, let's see. May have to move her just a little bit. There we go. I won't be able to see her face, obviously. So we'll put her right there. That's okay. She's okay. Last letter. And again, we'll do a butterfly on that one. Just choose OK. Here's our final butterfly. All right, that's good. Let's now zoom out a little bit. We can see our whole picture. There's the whole image. That's placing our frames. Now, we've already gone past this step, so we can ignore that. Right here, replace a photo by double-clicking its character. That means the letter. Double-click on your letter, and that brings this up again. You can replace your photo just by clicking on that and choosing a different picture. And then you can choose a different background if you want to. We already have our background selected in there. That's fine. We'll leave that alone. We can go clear or white or black or a color from the color picker. And finally, we can add in a little bevel, drop shadow, and stroke. There's a small one. There's a medium size. And there's a large. It's kind of like the small in that. A little bit of a stroke and drop shadow helps you separate this out from the image in the background. Once you're done with all that, all you have to do is just click the Next button and choose how you want to finish this up. Again, same thing, save, save as, continue editing in quick, go into the expert mode or share. We'll go to the expert mode of this one as well. And it's hiding the background, so I'm just going to minimize all these images and get those out of the way so I can see it. These came in all floating windows. Here we go. There it is in the background. And again, lots and lots of layers, as you can see in here. We have these special mask layers. Each one of these is for one of the letters and photos. You can click on the little arrow to collapse that set or expand the set. When you're working at this point, you may want to just collapse these, make it as easy as possible. Little arrow right there, just click that down to collapse all those sets. Easier to see what's going on. Here's your original text. And you can see which letter you're working with over here by hiding or showing the little I icon right there. So that one is the S. Don't change the name on these. Leave the names as is. But you can go ahead and you can at least see which one you're looking at just by double clicking in there. Okay, so much for this. Let's go ahead and save this one out. So File, we'll save. I'll leave it at the default name with the extension changed, of course, just like last time. Click on Save, and there we go. All right, let's go back to the guided edit. Notice how we're just showing our last project down here in the photo bin. But if you go to the right-hand side, little scroll bar here, you can scroll back up and see everything else is right up in there. Okay, the next tool here, I'll just scroll down. It's this one, the partial sketch tool. It allows you to place kind of a pencil sketch effect or different versions of that in just parts of an image. We'll use this butterfly right here for this one. Click on our butterfly, click on the partial sketch. This loads that image into this partial sketch. Now we have different options down here. We have a pencil sketch look, a colored pencil sketch look, an old photo look, and an old paper look. So you can choose any of these. You also can change between these once you have your basic effect drawn. We'll scroll down a little bit here. Notice that there are a few options. You can add or subtract, adjust your brush size, and detail brush for getting a little fine detail. Just a smaller brush in here. You can soften hard edges using a soften edge option as well. And you can flip that. Let's go ahead and see how this works. We'll use the pencil sketch. So you choose a style, and then go in here and you'll see a little brush, real small brush. Kind of see it right there, very, very small on that. You can adjust your brush size right here. See, there's the actual brush size, 69, bit bigger. Okay, and then just begin painting, and notice how it comes in and tries to find the area you're painting into. So it kind of like the quick select tool comes in here and just finds those spots, making it actually very easy to do this. Just kind of scroll in there and make your selection. Again, you can change the size of your brush, larger or smaller. You can choose to subtract and erase out. Click on subtract, a little smaller brush size here. I'm going to subtract that little bit right in there. Kind of missed that bit. And it missed right there. I'll just adjust that. So add or subtract. You also can adjust your opacity at this point, which gives you, again, kind of a partial sketch. That's what this is all about, doing a sketch technique, but either on a partial part of your image or partial opacity. Now once you have your sketch done, you can change just by clicking these different modes over here and see the different effects. Old-fashioned look, old photo look, has some texture in there as well. Maybe I'll stick with that one. Scroll down. Detail brush, just a smaller brush for adjusting your edges on that. Now you can soften the edges up right here. It kind of blurs the edges down. Sometimes a blurred edge helps to make an effect more realistic. Notice as I blur this too far, I begin to lose the quality of the effect in there. It's actually blurring out the layer mask on this. Just a little bit oftentimes helps these things to blend into your picture a bit better. You can flip the effect. That does that. It just reverses where the effect is applied. When you're done with that, come down to the next button. Again, click on that, and once again choose what you want to do. We'll just send this over into expert mode again. And there we go. There's that effect in expert mode. To save this one out, File, and save. I'll leave that with the default name, choose save, and there we go. Let's go ahead and we'll go back to the guided mode one more time. There we are. Now the last of these guided edits is over here on the special edits. Scroll down a little bit, and we're right down here, text and border overlay. Just like with the other edits, click on a picture like that, and then click on the guided edit. It's going to walk you through the process. So we have a few steps here. Selecting a border, add text, use the type tool. We'll scroll down a little bit here. Select position of the text, and then choose a text style. Let's start off with select a border. They're giving you just a few here to choose from. Just click on them, take a look at these one at a time, and see which one you like. You can resize your border right here. Keep in mind that your text is going to be overlapping the border, so you want to have some space around this for this to work. Let's just see which ones we have in here. That's okay, that's all right. That's what they used in their example. And that one and that. Let's see. I think I'll go with this one here since we're still talking about fairies and things. You also can change the color of your border. Click on this little thing here. You can choose a different color for your border. Let's just do it as a bright red. Choose OK. There it is. Doesn't work as a bright red. Actually, I like it as white. I'll go back up here to white and choose OK. So you decide on your border. Again, leave some space out here on your border for the text to be able to fit in properly. Come down to do our text overlay. Click on that. There's the text overlay. And we can then type in what we want to have here on our text. You also can choose a different place here once we have our text overlay in position. Let's just type something in. Although we're saying my do I do believe in fairies bit. There we go. And there's the text. Again, you can change your position on this thing. There's centered. There's right corner. I think this one works out well right down here in the bottom right hand corner. So we'll go ahead and we'll use that spot for that. It's the best background for our text. And then come down to text styles. And here we can make this just a bit more legible. There we go. Let's try that one. Let's take a look at this one. And in here, I'm just looking for a nice little typeface on this and see what looks good. I think that's the easiest to see. So there we go. There's our type styles. Notice how you can't back up in this thing. Once you have gotten out of that point, you can't back up on this. So you have to work through it in sequence. All right, there's our basic text frame. Let's go ahead now and click Next. Now I could undo this by clicking on this and then redoing that at that point. Just undoing that. We'll just leave it right here. Click on Next. Again, choose how you want to handle this. Let's go to Expert Mode. And there's our final project here over in Expert Mode. And once again, the last thing I want to do at this point is to save this out before we do anything else. So let's go ahead and choose Save. Leave it at its defaults. Choose Save down there, and there we go. It's down to a PSD file. Now at this point in all of these, we can come in here and we can change our images, our projects, very easily using Expert Mode. I'm just getting rid of the stuff that we're not using in there and just leaving up just our projects. Get rid of that one and these elements that we used, and there we go. Okay, to work with your project in the Expert Mode, look at your layers on the right hand side. If you're not seeing your layers, make sure you're on the Layers tab, your Layers button right down there. The background in this case is our picture. Above that, this thing here says GE. Let's just show and hide that. That's our frame right there. There's your frame. You can see where the lettering is being blocked out in here. There's a layer mask right there. White shows and black hides. So this little black rectangle right there on the layer mask is what is blocking out that corner. So we can change the size of the block out just by changing the size of this bit in here. Simply drag in a new rectangle using your rectangular marquee tool up here, fill that with black, and that will then change that size. To get rid of that block out, just paint over that with white on the layer mask. Click on the layer mask side, make sure that you see the light blue outline on the layer mask. You can then paint onto that layer mask. Double click on the left hand side to work with the actual image. So that is that bit. Above that, this is a fill layer. It's a color fill layer right here, and we're filling this with white. So we're filling our border here with white. You can change the color just by double clicking on that. You can then change your color right in here to any color that you want. Above that is our text layer. There's your text. This is just straight text at this point. So you can just grab your type tool over here, double click or triple click to select your text, and then we have all of our standard type options right down below here in the options panel. Again, there's your color right there. There's your typefaces. Everything is adjustable at this point, including, of course, the type warping as well. So you can do anything you want with your type. So it gives you complete control at this point to change it much further than the guided edit set it out. So I can choose any typeface I want in here instead of just the 5 that they give me the options on. I can change my border, anything you want once you're at this point, just working with our layers. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. Look at our fairies. This is the most complicated of all of these because each one of these is a separate set up here, separate layer group. Now we can take a look at these and see what we have. Here's our photo. Let's first show and hide the whole thing. This is the S. So the bottom layer in here, that looks like that's the bevel effect in there. Our next one here is the layer mask. That's the shape in here containing that. And the top one is the actual picture. No real way to change these things around at this point. These are kind of locked in place. So these aren't as customizable as we have in these other options down below, other techniques such as our little color change right there. But you still can do a few things. For instance, if I right click on this and if I release clipping mask, there's our picture right there. So the picture just sitting on top of that letter. The mask actually is your letter shape right in here. If you right click on this, you can see it says photo right there. Right click on that, create clipping mask, and it puts it back inside of the letter. So you can change your images that easily just by changing this layer to a different layer. Let me just demonstrate that quickly here. Let's hide that out of the way. Let's grab a new image here. Let's just do open and see if we have anything else we haven't used. Now maybe these mushrooms over there, they're kind of fun. Yes, more mushrooms in here. There's some mushrooms. Let's pull those in. Close that. I just dragged that from that one file to this file. They're too big, so I'll grab the corners up here. Let's shrink this down so it fits properly into that S, about like that. Looks pretty good. Right click on the name and create clipping mask, and that puts it inside of that letter. There you go. So you can change your images at this point any way you want to. And the final background picture back there, that's just this background here copied up to this position. And this is simply a fill of this layer, and it's being filled with white. So this layer is white. I can sure hide that right there. You see that? It's just filling that layer with white. And then this layer here, it's locked right now, but has an opacity of 30%. If you want to unlock this layer so you can change your opacity, just go up here to the top, uncheck that lock. There it is. It's now no longer locked, and I can then change my opacity to get just the effect that I want, or do anything else I want with that layer as well. And I think for my taste, about 40% is better than 30%. You can see it a little bit better in the background there. If you want to lock it again, just go back up here, click on that little lock, and that locks that back in place. So again, easily customizable. Okay, let's move over here. Look at our photo bin again. So we've done that. Let's look at our final picture here. This was our first one that we did. Again, same thing over here. We have a group for the effects for the center photograph. There's a top picture on top. This is the one that has that effect in there, that kind of a zoom effect. That was actually done with a zoom layer up here, or zoom filter up here. And below that we have the regular image, which is inside of the mask. The mask is controlling that basic frame thing. So if I hide that, you can see there's the image and there's the mask, which is showing it at that point. That's just showing our background. So you could change your picture in here by changing this. You even can apply different effects just using all of your different filters up here in the filter gallery, or any of these filters as well. Now the text, easy enough. Our top text right there. There it is. There's your top text. There's your bottom text. Those are just type layers. So you can change your text just by grabbing your text tool, clicking on that. You can move it around, change it, change what it says, anything you feel like doing just by using your standard, all your standard type tools right down below here. Also the outline and so forth. That's right here, little FX. Double click on that, and here is that outline effect. There's your stroke right there. You can adjust the stroke. There it is. You can change the position to inside the letter or outside the letter. You can change the opacity of the stroke. You can also change the color. Click on the little color picker right there. Choose a different picker. You can even eyedrop right off the image itself and choose a color right from the image, and then use a modified version of that if you want to. And choose OK. Now this comes in as a layer style, which means you can come in here and right click on this text layer, right click, come down to copy layer style, go to your other layer text here, right click on that and paste layer style, and copy those changes so they're on both of your layers. So real easy to fix. Last thing on this is that background. You can change this background very easily to any different background that comes with Photoshop Elements. I would recommend doing one thing though before you do that. This is save this background. You can do that by dragging this up to the new layer button. Makes a copy of it right there. Let's now just hide that. So that's saved as a copy. Come back down to our background. Go over here to graphics. And in graphics, let's change this to by type and backgrounds. We can then use any background in here off of this background list. And there are loads and loads of different backgrounds in here to choose from. Let's see what else we have that might be interesting on this one. Just click on the background. It will then change it to that background. And let's check our layers. You need to hide that. There we go. So there's that new background right there. I said to hide that one. They actually saved that out for us, which was nice of it. So there's our background. Let's go back to our graphics again. I'm just using the wheel right now on my mouse just to scroll down and see what else looks interesting in here as a different kind of a background. You can see what the options are. As you can see, there's loads and loads and loads of backgrounds to choose from here once you get outside of that initial guided edit. Let's see what this one looks like. Take a look. No, don't like that one at all. Let's find something else in here. Again, loads and loads of things you can choose from. Nothing that I'm really happy with in here. Let's now go back to our original background. That's easy to do. Go back to layers. Since it was saved out as a copy, just re-show that, and there's that original background back in again. So you can get many backgrounds in here. All you have to do is just take your background, make a copy of it like that, hide it, and then change your background using the background tool in graphics. You can then switch back and forth very quickly, just like that. Okay, there you go. That's a look at those 4 new guided edits in Photoshop Elements 2019, and also how you can modify them afterwards inside of expert mode. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to share this with your friends on social media. Just go right down there below the video, hit that share button, and share that out. Also, don't forget to take a look at my complete training course for Photoshop Elements, and again, a link right down there, right in the description. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it useful. If you like this video, click on the like button below to let others know. You can click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos in the future. I'm frequently uploading new training videos. Don't forget to check out my website at howtogurus.com.